The fact that Saturday Night Live has gone downhill and is basically a meme these days isn't exactly news to anyone. The ratings have been tanking, sketches elicit groans instead of laughter, and SNL is now viewed as some weird relic of the past rather than the premier place for culture and comedy. There's many reasons for SNL's decline that we can identify. The cast has exploded in size, the reliance on gimmicks has increased, and ultimately, a show that was once billed as being irreverent and subversive has become predictable and boring. All of this could merit a larger discussion, but I think the core of this issue is the writing. Now, it's not fair to compare SNL, a weekly live sketch comedy show, to Chappelle's Show, a pre-recorded masterpiece that still stands up to this day, but doing so will illustrate a broader point about how the creatives on each show approach the writing process and why one is amazing and the other is usually pretty shitty. At the end of the day, looking at the dichotomy between these two shows will make anyone a better writer. But first, let's take a look at how Trey Parker and Matt Stone of South Park approach writing and have kept their show fresh after 25 years.
We've found out this really simple rule that maybe you guys have all heard before, but it took us a long time to learn it. But we can take these beats, which are basically the beats of your outline, and if the words "and then" belong between those beats, you're f***ed, basically. You got something pretty boring. What should happen between every beat that you've written down is either the word "therefore" or "but." Right? So what I'm saying is that you come up with an idea and it's like, okay, this happens, right? And then this happens. No, it should be this happens and therefore this happens. But this happens, therefore this happens.
Basically, he's saying there needs to be causation in what you're writing. One thing has to lead to the next in a string of events. You may not realize this, but some of the most hilarious comedies of the past century follow this to a T. No scene is wasted. There's no fluff. Everything is done for a specific purpose. Have you ever heard of Chekhov's gun? Basically, if a story shows a gun over the mantle and it's not going to be fired, it shouldn't be there. This applies to comedy as well. If you're going to set up situations and jokes, have them lead to other situations which are hilarious. With that in mind, let's look at my favorite Chappelle Show sketch of all time. It's Charlie Murphy's Prince story. This starts out with Charlie Murphy talking about the strange style of the times. Therefore, when he sees Prince, he's taken aback by what he's wearing, and he also notices Mickey Free looks like a girl. And then Prince approaches the group and invites the group to his mansion. Therefore, they go to the mansion, but Prince is bored.
This bores me. Is anyone up for a game of basketball?
Therefore, Prince suggests they play basketball, but due to Prince's wardrobe, Charlie Murphy laughs. Therefore, when they are on the court and Prince comes out, Charlie makes fun of them.
You know what we're gonna call this? The shirts against the blouse.
Therefore, they play really hard. And then they go inside and eat pancakes. In the space of 6 minutes, we see an initial concept of Prince is weird but good at basketball, told through a series of interlocking events that builds the ridiculousness of the concept before reaching this huge crescendo that's guaranteed to make an audience lose it. Back that up with some of the most hilarious visual gags in the entirety of Chappelle's Show, and you have the makings of a masterpiece. Most things are done for a reason in this skit, and everything leads to something else. Now let's see how SNL uses 6 minutes. Luigi is on the stand in a courtroom talking about Mario getting murdered, and then he's asked who killed his brother, and then he points to Wario. Therefore, Wario takes the stand, and then he says he's discriminated against because of his accent.
I just misunderstood, and some of the anti-Italian hatred in this courtroom is disgusting.
Therefore, they look at the Wario Wikipedia page and read a Wikipedia entry on live comedy television for the next 45 seconds. And then they play Wario's music, and Elon Musk starts dancing.
All right, I'll have order in this court.
And then Wario talks about Mario doing drugs. And then he says Luigi was sleeping with Peach. Therefore, they look at text between Luigi and Peach. And then Pete Davidson comes out as Governor Andrew Cuomo. And then Mario comes out.
And I'm regular Mario. Don't worry about me.
me. Sure, I died, but I still got 3 lives left.
Do you see how this is just sort of a disjointed mess where the writers are just throwing whatever pops into their head into the skit, regardless of whether or not it makes sense and draws the story together? Again, I know it's not fair to compare one of the best Chappelle Show skits to one of the worst SNL skits, and there's certainly great dynamic SNL skits and some Chappelle Show sketches that fall flat, but you can see how causation can make a sketch hilarious, and if you just have a bunch of disparate events and things happening, it really doesn't make it that funny. That's why I hate the over-reliance on these fucking game show skits on SNL. It just seems like a cheap excuse to get everyone out doing their best celebrity impersonation and then moving on to the next person. It's like a conveyor belt of these disparate conversations that celebrities are having where they get a couple one-liners in before making way for the next person to go up. It's just boring, it's played out, and ultimately it's really not that funny. Before James Franco was outed as a creepy sex pervert, he made this documentary on the making of SNL, and when everyone is pitching their ideas, you can see exactly what I'm talking about. You have a room full of some of the funniest people on the planet pitching some of the most tired and one-dimensional ideas.
I have an idea like the movie The Most Dangerous Game, where you bring a bunch of people to your state and you're going to hunt them for sport, and you're explaining the rules, and you're just really worried that they're going to get into your neighbor's yard because your neighbor will freak out.
I had an idea where you go into a Hale and Hearty soup shop, and you're dressed as a medieval king, and I'm your servant, and you sort of proceed through all the different soups and keep claiming that you were displeased.
I have an idea where a high school football coach gets sick and you're the drama teacher filling in. You're a little over-inspirational. And then you are trying to raise money for a play idea you have, which is Dangerous Liaisons done in a hot tub called Jacuzzi.
And if the words "and then" belong between those beats, you're
And then you are trying to raise money for a play idea, and then
you're
I mean, you got Seth Meyers, Fred Armisen, Andy Samberg, and John Mulaney all in one room. These guys are absolutely hilarious, but I feel like SNL has gotten too comfortable with this lazy formula and everybody just sort of follows the same tired pitch over and over again. And look, I get that writing for a weekly show is very difficult. I'm not saying on Monday morning when people are pitching sketches they should have the whole thing thought out. But when talented comedians are put into a room and pitching these and then sketches is the norm, they're naturally going to conform to that outdated and boring style. At the very least, when pitching sketches, Lorne or some of the senior writers should be challenging the others instead of sitting there looking bored and talking about Christmas trees.
2 shows to Christmas. They're lighting the tree on Wednesday, which is always an exciting time here. And he's really good at it, so we'll start now.
Wow, way to rally the troops, Lorne. That speech really got my creative juices flowing. Did somebody put Ambien in Lorne's coffee again? Oh no. Having someone at the helm of the ship, pushing everyone to think creatively, would ultimately make a better show. I suppose I could go on for hours about SNL, and some way more talented people on YouTube have already done that. I'd suggest you check out some of their videos if you really want to dig into why SNL is struggling and how it might be able to come back from that. But for the purpose of this video, I really want to show any aspiring writers the benefits of causational writing and the pitfalls of one-dimensional writing. If you want to write sketch comedy, I hope this video serves as a jumping off point to anyone looking to do sketch comedy correctly. So get out there and watch some more YouTube videos. Look at how SNL has changed, look at how to write sketch comedy, and at the very least, you're going to be able to identify why some things work and why some things don't work. And at the end of the day, that's the first step to becoming a better writer. Take it from me, I'm highly successful. Just look at my subscriber count. Oh.